Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us. It's so nice to have you here. We love when you tune in. I know many of you like to join us when the shows are live, which is all the time, just about every day. Some 700 episodes we have done and counting here on JMS. It's good to see you guys. Hope you're having a terrific day. As you know, if you're not having a terrific day, this is the place to come to be inspired, entertained, to learn something, to connect, to collaborate, to communicate with all of our fantastic guests that we have that come in from all around the world, all different backgrounds, levels of celebrity friends, and people from a lot of different disciplines and so much more. And we're honored to have you here, whether you have been with us for over 700 episodes or this is your first time discovering the Jim Masters Show live series. We welcome you in style. We always have a good time. If you guys would like to communicate with each other right now, other viewers, and if you would like to chat with us, you have an opportunity to do that exclusively when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which doesn't cost a thing. Just hit that red rectangular subscribe button that you see at the top of our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. Click that red button. And when you do, it also lets us know that you're enjoying all this content, all these hours of programming and all these shows and these episodes. Just click that button you see right there, subscribe, and you will be a part of the JMS family when you do. Again, no cost for that. And be sure you click that notification bell too. There's a little bell icon right next to that red button there. So that way there you're alerted every time we have episodes, which we do all the time. So check out some of the past episodes too. You can binge watch over 700 episodes, like the one with Lucy Arnez or Melissa Manchester or Tony Orlando. I mean, John Davidson, and on and on and on. So many of them here on the show. We're going to check in with some of our viewers now. The JMS live chat room is open. It's available. So if you do subscribe to the channel, make sure that you do that right now so you can comment, because that's exclusive for our subscribers. You can actually chat. And then we have a mystery surprise guest. We actually have two guests. We have a guest that's going to come on in just a second. And then we have a mystery surprise guest. We are not announcing who it is until that person pops on. So it's somebody that you're going to love. Absolutely. Thanks for all the comments. I see a lot of activity, a lot of comments built up here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, a mystery surprise guest is coming on, unless they already have figured it out. It looks like they already figured out who the guest is. Or the surprise guest. You're not supposed to know yet. He gave it away. All right, so here is our guest, and then we have a semi-mystery guest coming on later. Here is the guest, our exclusive guest. Sara Arnell is joining us. She's a fabulous professor. She's also author of this really cool book, a really fantastic book, There Will Be Lobster. Now, does that intrigue you? Yes. Does that intrigue you? It should intrigue you. We're so excited to have her here. We're going to talk about this book, but also she's got this fantastic career as a professor at Parsons, the New School Design in New York City. She's a global branding and marketing expert as well. We're very, very excited to have her here. We're going to talk about a lot of really cool things. She's also a mother, and she's had a wonderful, wonderful career, and she's a fantastic person. We were just having a great conversation moments ago. She is, in addition to being an author, a respected professor at the Parsons The New School for Design in New York City. So, as I mentioned, a global branding and marketing expert. Her riveting memoir is a real page turner. And in it, of course, you're going to be blown away because she opens up. She's authentic. She opens up about her life in a deep and inspiring way, as she's going to hear on this episode as well. Sara is the author of her midlife memoir, There Will Be Lobster. If you're arriving to the midlife crisis party yourself, the one that's serving low esteem, desperation, unreliable behavior, forgetfulness, carelessness, and the loneliness of loss, well, the stories and the anecdotes in this memoir will assure you that you are not alone. For Sara took a rogue lobster, a dying rock star, an 18-pound tumor, meditation guru, a famous medium, and a former monk to put her on a path toward light, hope, and healing. And by the time she was in her late 20s, she was a mother, a wife, a rising advertising executive. And by the time she was appointed CEO of a well known ad agency, it seemed like she had it all. But appearances can be deceiving. There Will Be a Lobster is the story of Sara's path to reconnecting with a loving, healthy, and productive version of herself and ending the middle-age crisis party that got way out of control. Through telling stories and anecdotes and life lessons learned, Sara reminds people that they have the power to take care of themselves and rise back up no matter how far they think they have fallen. So she says if reading this book helps even one person, then telling this story is absolutely worth it. She's my very special guest. Yes, I know Maureen's saying 18-pound tumor. Yeah, it's really a fascinating story. And again, you see the book actually on the screen there. We'll tell you how you can get it. There is the book as well. There Will Be Lobster. It's a fantastic title. And we're very honored to have her here on the show. She's going to really open up and share, again, not something that comes easy for everybody to just open up and share, about their lives, but she's doing it. And we are so honored to have her here so she can tell us all about the book, what inspired her to write this book and to really inspire all of us in the beautiful way that she does. Join me in welcoming her from Westchester, New York today, right here on the Jim Master Show. And then we'll have our surprise guest a little bit later, semi-surprise. It's worth the wait. Sara, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Hi. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. What a fantastic introduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Filled with our famous levity, as we were talking about, right?
Absolutely. Levity.
Everybody's intrigued. They heard me talk about a dying rock star, a rogue lobster, an 18-pound tumor, the meditation guru, a former monk, and all of these things that came into your life. Tell us about some of this. It's fascinating.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to say is it's not a cookbook because I do get that.
There Will Be Lobster, right?
No, it's not about lobster. And, the lobster ends up being a metaphor for sort of an awakening moment that I had. I call it a lobster moment.
Right.
But it was about a metaphor for change and seeing something that says, my God, I've got to do something about my life. So the book is really about a journey. It's about the journey that I took, and I think I'm still taking. I feel like the journey never ends. It just keeps going, and that's how we continue to heal and evolve.
Yes.
It doesn't end at a cliff. It just goes. So
it just continues going, right? Exactly.
Yeah, as I think it should. And somebody keeps saying to me, well, where does the journey take you? It just takes you to another journey. And so that's how the stories of the rock star and the monk and all those people pop in, because it was just points along the way. The 18-pound tumor was something that my older daughter had. So it wasn't me, but
Right.
What happened was that I didn't see it. I didn't notice anything. I didn't see her body changing. I didn't see her health changing. I was so busy, on this little hamster wheel of work and success, and it made me feel very negligent as a mother. She's okay in the end, and she had the tumor removed, and she's fine, and she's living a happy, healthy life. So that's the good part of the story. But the reason I put it in the book was I thought it was really important to talk about how nobody noticed. I didn't notice the tumor. Now, when I look back, I see things where I should have been a little bit more alert and alive to what was happening with my child. But I didn't, and I wasn't. And so what I think is so really important, and why I tell the story, is just this idea of being in the moment and being really aware of the people. And she told me all the time, I don't feel good. And I'd be like, oh, take a Tylenol, go to school, whatever. Because I needed to get up and I needed to go to work. So, the stories I tell aren't proud moments for me.
Yeah.
And
But in your 20s, you thought, you had everything going, right? Married and
yeah,
mother and this fantastic job, the CEO of this ad agency, all these fantastic things happened. So you thought you did everything right. You planned it out. You worked hard, got educated, did everything in a
yeah.
certain path. And then boom, these things happen. Tell us about the early years and when things seem to be really going well before the midlife time comes. What was your life like, and what were some of the things you were experiencing then, Sarah?
Well, I was in advertising. So that was really quite a fun career back when I was doing it in the, I guess, starting from the 90s onward. And there was great advertising and great budgets. And the special guest who's coming on, I met him. We did an ad campaign together. And that was really fun. We'll talk about that when he emerges. Um, but it was a very active, fun, fulfilled life, a lot of travel, always sort of on the road, a very creative job, job and a creative lifestyle, always getting to sort of think like, what if, and what if we could do this? And then things could actually come true. And I think part of what happened to me was I got so used to living in this world of creating facades for brands, facades for products, showing them only in the best light,
Yes.
only
Yeah.
the good stuff, not always the
Mhm.
bad stuff, right? That's
Yep.
advertising.
Oh, yeah. I know that, working in television and radio, and yep.
So I actually did it to and for myself, maybe a little unconsciously or subconsciously, but I kind of hid behind this facade of
Sort
everything's
of
great,
m-
everything's good. I got
matching what you're presenting in the daytime,
yeah,
matching it when you come home,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
How do we not make it seem so? If we can make it on paper seem like that, how can we not match that, right?
Exactly. And I mean, even just convincing myself, not even just, I mean, at a certain point, I'm pretty sure I knew I was lying to myself and lying to everybody else about how
Was
I.
your idol at the time Donna Reed?
Donna Reed, yeah,
Were you vacuuming with pearls on? And
it. That's it. The house was perfect. No
yes,
white glove test.
that's right. The kids didn't have cavities.
Exactly. We brushed our teeth twice a day.
That's right. Don't tell the neighbors.
Lived by every advertising slogan that there was.
That's
Um,
right.
but then I'd come home and stay in bed for the whole weekend and I wouldn't get out. Um,
Exhausted?
exhausted from keeping up sort of this life that wasn't really healthy for me. I was drinking a lot. I was drinking way too much. I started off like a social drinker, but it turned into more like binge drinking, really.
Now, was this self-applied pressure, or did you also feel pressure from family, friends, colleagues, the industry life? Was there outside pressure of having to match and keep up with others around you, or was this predominantly a self-applied situation?
Um, I think when I was really rising through the ranks in advertising, there were very few uh, female executives and leaders. So there was a lot of pressure on me as a female executive to outperform
Yeah.
and really always felt like I was having to earn my place at the table, even though I deserved to be at the table. And, I can tell you story after story of walking into a boardroom, making a big presentation on the future strategy and of a brand, and everyone, sometimes being the only woman in the room, and also then because of that, having most of the executives who we were presenting to, who maybe I hadn't actually met before, assuming I was sort of an admin there, and say, hey, being called things like, hey, excuse me, miss, can you go get a coffee for me? And they're just really got the wrong impression of who you are and what you're there to do. And I have no problem getting anybody a coffee. I went and I got the coffee, and then I stood up and gave the entire strategic brand presentation of what their brand should do for the next year.
Right.
In the end, I remember that meeting specifically because he did say, "I'm really sorry that I assumed that you weren't a strategist."
Mm,
And I faced that time and time again. So I
yeah.
think a lot of the pressure was an industry born from the industry itself.
Where everything is yeah. Also, you're striving to make everything look perfect and
Yeah.
exacting, and you have to
Yeah.
top the last campaign has to top what you did before, and you got to constantly create something new and innovative and different, and it can't be similar to what's happening across the street. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's fast paced too. It's these fast paced industries. This is immediate stuff. Yeah, we
Kind of
want it. We want it now. Yeah,
Yeah, cutthroat. And you watch Mad Men, right? Like there's some
sure. Yes.
kind of stuff. So
So it was starting to burn you out.
it's starting to really burn me out, starting to make me feel really bad about myself. And meanwhile, I was a mother. I had 3 children. I was, trying to be really present for them, be really present for the business. The people that worked for me too, I know they counted on me. They counted on me because advertising is the kind of business. If you lose an account, then the team, if you can't repurpose the team usually gets to
Right.
go. So
Right.
I was, really committed to keeping my team and keeping business coming in so we could just, everybody could support themselves and their families and their lives.
Mm,
It was a lot. And I think at one point it just got too much for me and I didn't raise my hand for help. And that is the one thing like I really tried to make very clear in the book is if you need help, ask for it because people
yeah.
are so willing to, and they're so understanding for the most part to give you the help you need or just give you the break that you need.
Absolutely. So, again, a fabulous life leading up to everything, but then it's starting to all come at you at once and becomes almost debilitating. Like you say, on the weekends, staying home, not really going out, not really socializing, trying to numb whatever it is. So you're ready to go back in on Monday and tackle it all again. And, playing in the big leagues too, and really making your mark. But then did rock bottom happen? I mean, was there a pivotal moment where all these things came together? And how does the lobster factor in? The rogue lobster.
That was the rock bottom moment for me. That's where the lobster comes in. So it was New Year's Day. We had been up all night the night before celebrating New Year's Eve at my home. My son was still in college. He had arrived with like 10 friends. And we were just partying like crazy. I was supposed to have brunch the next day for like 15 people at my house. My other daughter was coming home from college with her brand new boyfriend that I hadn't met
Oh,
yet.
so that's a whole other pressure, right? Exactly.
Who's now her fiance, so at least he's stuck around.
Right.
So terrible, crazy, wild party night. Missed brunch. My daughter came home. I was still in bed. She got mad and left with the new boyfriend. Terrible first impression. And by the time I made it downstairs, the kitchen was a disaster. There had been food all over the walls. I don't even remember what happened. I woke up with a black eye.
Mm,
I had been sick. It was a very unpleasant, unpretty scene.
yeah.
I pour a cup of coffee thinking I have screwed up so badly. And the slipcover on my kitchen chair just starts to wiggle. And I'm thinking, is this just my brain jumping around my skull? And I look again, and a lobster crawls out from under the chair. And it was one of the lobsters that we were going to have for brunch that day that I guess somebody at some point released and set free because they were in the refrigerator. So the lobster crawled out, and I just stared at it, and I thought, this is me. It's time I crawl out from hiding too. I got to crawl out from hiding just like this lobster. I have to save myself.
A good thing you were not sitting in that chair.
You can imagine, like, bit me. So Yeah, that was the lobster moment, and that's sort of
Wow.
how
So
it.
that lobster coming out from under, you created the analogy there, with the creative mind, and saw it as a representation almost of yourself.
Yes. Yeah. It was a really pivotal moment. None I could have ever predicted.
Or scripted.
Yeah, nothing, but it was just things hit you sometimes. And it just hit me that moment in time. It was a new year about to start, and I just thought I cannot continue to be hiding behind this shell, which,
Yes.
like a lobster, I got to come out and save myself and be honest with everybody, starting with me.
Yeah. Now, when was this happening? Were you in your 30s when this was happening? What time frame? Because in the 20s, you thought everything was going well and everything. So did this start to hit this exhaustion and all of this in your 30s?
More midlifey, more mid 40s. I do sort of call this a memoir about a midlife crisis, but I have heard from so many people along the way who reached out to me after I wrote the book that, midlife isn't really an age, it's a stage. And so you could kind of hit midlife at different points in your career trajectory or your life path. But for me,
Right.
I think it was more typical late 40s, maybe even early 50s, where I had it.
Everything just came
Yeah.
together, and the family started to see the changes, right? They were experiencing it. Mom, or honey, what's happening here? What, are you all right? Or was everybody else just very busy?
Um, well, my son was at college,
Yeah.
so he wasn't around. My daughter, who had the 18-pound tumor removed, the minute she got the okay about her health, she got on a plane and moved to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I had my youngest daughter was home, but she was in college, so she was home, you know, uh, just on breaks. Things. So and I was divorced, so
Yeah.
I was spending a lot of time alone, too much time with myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't letting my friends into my life. In fact,
Yeah.
when I wrote this book and my friends read it, they they were calling me up saying, I didn't know any of that. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me? What's wrong with you? We're here for you. And
Right.
I had no levity. I had no levity
No
because
levity.
I didn't let it come into my life. I always wanted to be like the strong girl. Like, I can do it. I can handle it. I'm a mom. I'm a business person. Like, I got it. Don't worry. I got
Hmm.
this. But
Right.
it got me first.
It got you first. So where does the dying rock star come in?
So my daughter, so I am from upstate New York, Saugerties, right?
Which is not Westchester.
I grew up true upstate New York, right near Woodstock, where a rock star named Levon Helm lived, and he was
Oh,
a
yeah.
member of that legendary '60s group, the Band.
Yes.
I used to go see him play. My younger daughter and I in Woodstock. Anyway, he was diagnosed with throat cancer. He
Mm.
was in a hospital in New York.
Yeah.
I read about it in a newspaper, and my daughter wanted to just mail him a get well card or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Beautiful.
trying to be super mom, said, no, we'll go find him and we're going to deliver it and we're going to hand deliver it. And again, it was just one of these sort of kind of crazy over the top journeys where I'm trying to just be like so perfect for her. Like, mailing a letter wouldn't have been enough.
Right.
We're going to hand deliver it. So we started calling all the hospitals in New York and finally found where he was and showed up at the most inopportune time. We had showed up, he had passed 15 minutes prior, and we were I just grabbed my daughter and said, you know what, we have to get out of here. And it was not her. She didn't want to do this to begin with. And I was sort of making her, again, it was one of these moments where we don't have to always go to the nth limit. It wasn't about her. It was once again about me. And so as I kind of continued on this journey, trying to do all these things that I thought would be healing,
Yeah.
they weren't.
Right.
They were kind of manic sometimes.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a perfectionist?
I mean, I try to be.
Yeah.
I like to, it's like, dot the I's and cross the T's,
Right.
as
Yeah.
they say. And,
Right.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's part of my personality,
Part of
who,
the person.
yeah.
Exactly. And then the monk and the meditation guru, how did they all come in to
So
play?
I so I started meditating, and one of the things that I really started to do finally for myself, once I realized, somebody said that this book was like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It was like this crazy, crazy up and journey of ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. At some point during the book, I when I think I'm really, really finally okay, I think I can get it together. I get diagnosed with chronic leukemia.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I sort of tumble again into depression.
Oh, yeah.
I started meditating in order to really find some kind of inner peace and inner calm and deal with this blood cancer diagnosis that I had been given.
Yeah.
Um, I'm lucky that I haven't had any treatment yet, and I may not need any treatment. It's a slow moving form of blood cancer, and I might actually outrun it. Let's hope.
So this
But
is something that isn't past tense. This is happening still
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah. And so meditation for me, meeting this guru, this meditation guru, and studying and practicing with him in order to really find some inner peace and calm was part and still of my healing journey. And then the monk is a man I met upstate New York in Woodstock, and he was a former Buddhist monk. And he had written a book on the importance of darkness and how you can't see, you don't know that there's light until you know there's darkness. It's darkness that lets you see the light.
Yeah.
So I was at his book reading, and I asked him a question, and I said, how did you leave the monkhood? And he said to me, I mean, sometimes the revelations are just so obvious. He said, I just took off my robe and I walked away.
Wow. Just like a
And
cold turkey situation. Yeah.
just another moment where I said, that's it.
That was
That's
it.
You just take off the trappings that you thought defined you and you leave them on the ground and you just walk into a new life. And he said, yeah. And so that was really,
Hmm.
again, sort of that's how I end the book. And that's the really aha moment that we all have the power inside us all along.
Yeah.
Change who we are. We don't have to, it's not going to come from outside. It's going to come from within.
It absolutely, we always look for an outside, we can get inspired, we can get good information, but that put one foot in front of the other really has to come from within. And a lot of the answers to life's questions are within. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes the world sometimes wears us down, or people say things that weigh you down, and you just sort of retreat and hide it all and suppress it. And then trigger moments like a lobster coming out of a slipcover and all these other things that you've experienced sort of trigger the, you know what, I'm still here. I still have something to contribute. I've got to sort of dust off and get back to who Sara is as Sara, not Sara as the, and Sara as the, with all the titles, but Sara as me. And you discovered that, and it's very inspiring to be able to put it in book form, which is next level, and share it so openly and authentically isn't always something that everybody does. How did you come to the realization of not only did you want to do it, but you had to share this with the world in There Will Be Lobster?
Well, COVID hit and we were all stuck inside, and it made me really, you had so much time to think, and it made me really think about, what I had been through. And I was really kind of thinking, what my friends all said, they wish they knew, they wish they helped. Like, this is a journey to telling the truth. And the only way to really get ultimate freedom is to tell the truth.
Yes.
So I
Right.
thought, and part of my career in advertising was copywriting. I entered advertising as a copywriter, so I was always writing. So I just took that skill that I developed over the years, and I said, I'm going to put it toward me, and I'm going to just write down this story because I can't be the only one who's felt this way, or the only one who's been, hiding behind a wall of everything's great, don't worry, I got this, and then going home and crumbling.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And so that was really the motivation. COVID was hard enough, and I thought, geez, if I can even just write a book to even help somebody get rid of some of this baggage that we all have, I'm doing it. And there's people in my family that they don't want to read it. They feel like I'm airing a little bit too much dirty laundry. But I am not embarrassed by this at all, because it's actually made me who I am today.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that you decided to do, because you never know. Like you say, I know your mission is, even if it just helps one person, you're good, you're content, you're happy. You do have this phenomenal career, as a professor at Parsons at the New School of Design. Tell us about that, because there's another, opportunity to continually inspire those who want to go into the arts and design world.
I just love the Parsons students. So I've been teaching there since 2014, and I teach classes in advertising, marketing, and branding, which is really how I made my career. And I think I learn as much from them as they do, hopefully, from me. How they consume media, how the millennial generation and younger consumes media, how they get their information. It's fascinating.
It's changed greatly, hasn't it? We were just talking about that before we went live on the air.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So, I'm really get so much information for them about how they receive information, how they make decisions about things. And I can teach them some of the fundamentals of how to communicate persuasively and honestly and openly. And the thing I'm really clear about teaching them is sort of, and it all kind of goes back to this goes back to my meditation guru in a way, and this idea of karma, which is sort of what you do comes back to you. And companies need to think that way too. And a lot of companies are. They need to, if they want consumers to be, friendly and kind, then they have to put kindness out there in terms of their communications and their marketing. If they want to be consumers to be eco-conscious and sustainable, they need to put that out there. So they need to just walk the walk as well as talk the talk. And so I think a lot of corporations who have a lot of money to spend, if they spend it on advertising that's toward bettering the human condition and not just selling a product, they will sell the product and they'll help make the world a better place. And I really focus a lot on that with my students.
Isn't that fantastic? Yeah, that's really fantastic. And it's a fantastic place to be, Parsons, huh?
Incredible. Right in the village. Such a smart, creative student body. Extraordinary university and students that go there.
So what's a typical day like for you now? Obviously, you're doing that incredible work. What's a typical Sara day like now? Have you been able to find the balance that you've been looking for? I mean, you're still all these roles that we listed earlier, but have you found a way to balance them and still feed your heart and soul? You're taking care of everybody else and their needs and making sure the world is, painted in beautiful red rose colors. I know how that is. I've done the same, so I can identify with it all. Dusted a lot of people off, propped a lot of people and things up, and let's go. And it's all going to be great. The sun's coming right up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait, what the heck? These things really happen?
Yeah.
Like a post reaction. How have you done that? How have you been able to balance it all and move forward with your life and come out of all these things in the way that you can? Not that you're not still dealing with things, but
firstly,
on the other side. Oh, wow. Hey, look, gang, you guys love when either there's a kid, there's a pet, or food. Who do we have there?
This is Otis. He's a toy poodle. So
now, the audience may be saying, oh my God, is that the surprise guest? Maybe. So let's see Otis more. Tell us about Otis.
So, because
is Otis still there?
He lives right on my lap.
Yeah. They want to see.
Yeah. Say hi, Otis. He's such a good guy.
Tell us about him. How old and what
He's
kind of dog?
years old, and he's a toy poodle. I got him right, he's my little COVID puppy. I'm spending a lot of time, and I'm still spending a lot of time inside because of I am immunocompromised.
Situation happening.
So
Yes,
I do spend a
absolutely.
lot of time inside, and I'm only teaching in Parsons right now online.
Okay,
So I
yeah,
haven't
that makes
class,
sense.
yeah, since 2020.
I'm
So
sorry, but as usually happens, once you bring like Otis on,
yeah,
we're second class now. It's now all about Otis. Sweet puppy. Hi, Otis. So
oh,
cute. Ah, adorable. Ah, it's like, ah,
I feel the
what a
same.
sweetie. I
You
knew it.
little guy warms my heart every day. He's sort of my main company, and he sits on my lap. My
Beautiful.
students love him. He comes to every class. I call him my assistant.
Otis was a bonus surprise guest, folks, but we actually have another surprise guest as well, going to be joining us in just a second here. First, what's been the response to the book? And I know the book is very emotional and therapeutic for you. Tell us about what the response has been, because it's just come out, so it's hot off the presses. What's the response been? And is there a reader that you have in mind, or is it something that everybody and anybody can learn from? They don't have to be a specific word we use all the time, demographic.
Yeah, you know, I again, like I said before, I don't think you have to be in midlife. You just have to be at like an inflection point, maybe even a crisis point in your life, where a point where you recognize something needs to change.
Which a lot of people are experiencing right now with the last few years that have happened in our lives in every aspect, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is sort of a book that, you know, it kind of takes you to the edge of a cliff,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make you want to jump. It makes you want to just back up and go find another way. That's the hope that I get from it. The
Yes.
response that I've got is from people that know me, they're shocked.
Yeah.
But the people that don't know me and read the book, I connect with so many people online. So many women reach out to me, um, and say, thank you so much. I'm trying to be more open and honest with people around me. I'm trying to tell them how I feel a little bit more. I'm trying to be more honest with myself. And that's the stuff that makes my heart so full,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm telling this story so maybe somebody can see themselves in it,
Yes.
and say, you know what, she can do it. I can too. So that's my hope and dream for the book, and it's mostly women who read it for sure. Um, but I think that anybody of any age can really benefit from it if they want to just try to find sort of lessons on how to move through hard situations, perhaps, and maybe try to see a light through the darkness.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. That's really fantastic. And, you know, uh, Crystal says, I definitely want to read it. A lot of people want to read this, and guys can learn from it too, right? It's for everybody. So people have been asking, thanks for all the great comments coming in, folks. We've been showing some of them. Um, how are you now? I know you mentioned the leukemia situation.
Mhm.
In terms of other aspects of your life, how are you?
I mean, I'm
How's your daughter too? People are asking that. How's everybody?
my
How's
daughter's engaged to the boyfriend that never got New Year's Day brunch. So
instead he's getting a wedding
yeah,
to
next
make up for that.
yeah, exactly. So that's good. My other daughter's still in California. She's had no health issues at all since her tumor was removed, and that was in 2012. So she's good. And my son is living in New York City, and he's great, and my children are really healthy and they're really well. I see them all the time. In fact, my daughter lives in a little apartment over my garage, so I actually see her every day.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful, huh?
Lovely, yeah.
And having good people in your life, people that support, people that care, people that sort of root you on, we all need that in our life, right? It's very important to have people like that in our life. And there's somebody that is a dear friend of yours, a dear friend of ours now as well, and of our show, was a guest recently on our show and wanted to pop on to lend his support and maybe add to this beautiful story as well. Renowned celebrity fashion designer extraordinaire, Wayne Scot Lukas, making his return visit to the Jim Masters Show live in support of Sara and to join us as well. Wayne, welcome to the show, my friend.
I was having fun listening to my
No.
friend talk. It was great. And Maureen says that Sara should have an S on her chest like Superwoman.
Yes.
How great is that?
There is our third and our mystery surprise guest. Wayne Scot Lukas is here. Wayne, how are you since we chatted last?
You guys probably like Otis better than me, but I'm hairier. Not on my body, just my head. How am I? I'm good, but I've enjoyed this Sara moment. I mean,
Yes.
I've known Sara forever. When she says my daughter lives above my garage, trust me, the garage is like Beverly Hills. Hello,
Yes,
it's
right.
not a garage, but it's a pleasure to hear what Sara
Yeah.
had to say about the book, because every time I see Sara do these talks, I learn something different each time. And I'm glad you asked great questions, and the ladies know they can trust me when I speak about this. She gives you truth.
Yeah.
There's truth and honesty in it, and the kids are lovely. And Sara, you've come back from like being driven over by a bulldozer between the marriage stuff, the kids stuff, the health stuff, and then the COVID stuff. Sara keeps rising from the ashes, and every time she rises, she gets another like feather in her wing as an angel.
Wayne.
Well, it's the truth. It's the truth. And we worked together a long time ago in an ad agency, and I asked Sara. I ran into her on LinkedIn, which is the weirdest thing, and I said, I really need help. I'm doing a book. We went out to tea.
Yeah.
And she was doing a book at the same time, and you know what? She really went out of her way to change my life yet again. So anybody that reads the book, and that she has another project coming out, but when you read the book, Sara takes the piss out of herself on every page. She tells the truth. It is raw. It is painful. It is a mom on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and she has it. And she still runs a company while she's having it. And she still raises her kids while she's doing it. And she's still creating. And then she comes out of the dark, just like every single woman out there.
That's incredible.
Somehow there's a resiliency in women that you all find your way. You all find your way when you need to.
You don't have a choice. When you're a single mom as well, what choice do you really have?
There's no choice. And you see these people putting down single moms, and it's like, guys, that's the hardest job ever. And this book really shows how, Sara, you didn't just find a lobster on the floor, you found your heart, and you worked your way back because it was a heart you always had.
That's right.
And for everybody out there, when you find your heart and you find who you were, Sara, you found who you were.
That is so interesting you said that, Wayne, because I've been thinking about that a little bit. And somebody said to me recently, how do you think you changed? And I actually thought about it for a second and said, I think I changed back.
Yeah, I found myself.
I think I changed back to who I was and who I should be or who I wanted to be, and not this kind of, hamster on a wheel that I'd be.
Yeah. So do you think that if you didn't go into that industry, that it might not have been as enhanced and pronounced? If you went into a totally different industry, do you think maybe it wouldn't have happened in the way that it did? Or do you think it's something that might have happened to you anyway, Sara?
I got into advertising completely accidentally. I was in journalism, Jim, and I was working at Vanity Fair magazine, very junior, bottom level editor, and needed a little bit more money to pay the rent. So got a side gig writing press releases for the fashion designer Donna Karan. And they actually paid better than the job. So I ended up just writing. And then Donna Karan was about to do her first ad campaign. And this is where Wayne kind of comes in. It was for Hanes Hosiery.
Mm-hmm.
she asked me if I wanted to write the copy for the ad. And that's literally how I kind of got into advertising. It's, again, this idea of just following this path. So we were going to do an ad campaign for Donna Karen's and Hanes Hosiery. And Hanes was launching a new brand of hosiery that, does anybody even remember hosiery? It's so funny to talk about.
Sure, right? Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot again. They're wearing it again. Hello.
Yeah, but they were going to launch a brand called Resilience. And we needed to find a spokesperson, like who's a great person to represent a brand of hosiery called Resilience. And we thought, oh, Tina Turner. She's super resilient and she's got great legs. So we pitched it to Hanes, we got the job, and we needed a major celebrity stylist to style Tina. And here comes Wayne Scot Lukas. And that's how we met, on the set of a photo shoot in LA shooting Tina Turner.
And then we stuck together. How many years is that? 1993?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was when people wore hosiery.
That's going to be 30 years next year.
Yeah, but Sara, it doesn't give her enough credit that she came up with these amazing slogans. She came up with everything you ladies and men out there read. Every ad campaign from the 90s to the 2000s she did. It's Sara's words on the page. So when you know that that's how she thinks and writes for the real woman and the real man, when she puts it on the page for her book, it's life-changing because it's the truth.
Exactly.
So we met on Hanes. I went on to work with Tina, for 18 years after that. And then me and Sara just reconnected. But Sara kind of downplays Sara's, at the highest of the heights of her advertising career, Sara worked with Martha Stewart and Donna Karen. Everybody that's a household name, Sara was part of those campaigns. So she doesn't talk about herself like that, but that's the truth. So to hit the highest of highs and then say, you know what, I want a do-over. That's kind of magic.
It really is, Sara, isn't it? To have that up. It's like you've been given a second chance, a second lease on life.
And three great kids. So it's not like, and a great portfolio of great advertising and now a book.
And, I had really good supportive family behind me, with my mother and my sister and my children. And, the advertising was the job. It wasn't life. And that's where I kind of got confused.
Yeah.
That's really kind of where I definitely got confused. And once I realized it was the job, not life, I was able to try to separate that a little bit more.
Isn't that great for every mother out there that watches the show? Your kids aren't your life. Your job is in your life. You can't forget you in the process.
I do think my kids are my life, but I can't really, not at my own expense all the time.
Yeah, that's the truth. I always say you have to keep refilling the well or there's no water in the well.
I'll tell you the one thing that's really important. This is on my mind so much nowadays, is this idea of detox. And just a detox, get rid of the people in your life that don't support you or uplift you. Get rid of the people in your life that this happened to me all the time. I'm the only one that calls this one person who I said, oh, she's my best friend. She called me, I called her every time. And she'd never had time for me. And I called her for years, for like 20 years. I was the only one making the phone calls. Finally, I just said, I'm not calling her anymore.
Yeah.
She seems to have no interest in me. And I had to face the fact that she had no interest in me. That's something I had to face.
That could be disappointing, right? Yeah.
And I think, I guess I was just deluded. Like, oh no, we went to college together. We were like best friends. Well, the girl called me back. So guess not. Right. And once I sort of faced that and just moved on, it was such a relief. It was such it's
liberating, isn't it?
It was fantastic. So
yes. Did you have to learn to, I have, as time's gone on, I've had to learn to create boundaries. I never had any boundaries. I was always 24/7, 365, open, available as a resource, as a support system, as a savior of this, that, and the other, a fixer, a doer, a corrector, a smoother outer, a polisher.
Wait a minute. Do you want to marry me or Sara? Because you sound amazing.
Wayne has no boundaries.
See, I'm always polishing things.
Jim knows. Jim knows.
But so and then, and I think I mentioned this, driving alone after a TV shoot in Death Valley, and alone in the car, a rental car. Nobody knew I was doing that. I came through some life-changing things when it was just dealing with self, alone in 100-degree heat in a rental car in Death Valley, with nobody knowing I was doing it, because I had the rental car after the TV shoot till the next day. And it was very liberating, and just all these things came to be where I said, you know what? I have to set boundaries. And the fear was that if I set boundaries, people would disappear.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got boundaries. What do you mean? We're not used to these boundaries. We want to be able to have access 24/7. What do you mean boundaries? And you know what? There were a couple of people, like you said, the friend from college that didn't call. There are a couple of those types of people who fell off the face of the earth on their own. I didn't push them off. They fell off on their own. But it's attracted all these other people who like the fact that I actually have boundaries. They respect the boundaries. They like the fact that I have the boundaries.
Healthy people.
Yes, they're people who say, you know what? You got to have boundaries. You know what I mean? We all have to have boundaries. So it took a while to, I was the one that, and I will say, when I'm on an airplane and they mention put the mask on yourself first before you put it on the other person, I get it now. It took me a long time to get that, because I always wanted to put it on them first. Help thy fellow person, help thy neighbor. We always was raised that way. Do that, help everybody else, look out for one another, but then realize you gotta do you. Doesn't mean you're not going to help them, but you have to do you and have the oxygen to be able to help them, and they have to help themselves. And now when I go on a plane, I still cringe a little bit, about 8%. Like, I don't like that. That's selfish. I get it. I get it.
It's good. The best thing about boundaries are they're movable. They're not a line in the sand. They can be, you can wipe the line out and make the boundary closer. You can push them far away.
I've had to do that, actually. Yes, I've actually had to do that. And a couple people thought the boundary was just fake. It was just something. Oh yeah. Right. Sure. Boundary.
Yeah.
Open the door. I'm like, the door's locked. I'm going to bed.
So we're all learning, and that's the magic of all this. And speaking your truth, and Sara speaking her truth, and Jim, you telling your story. 3 people are talking about it may look great on the outside, but it's always been a little tough on the inside as we keep learning and changing who we are. And everybody out there can do the same thing, and that's the magic of this. You're not stuck.
That's right. Exactly. Yes.
And one little word, and I sort of say this to my children sometimes. Do you know the word no? No is a complete sentence.
Yeah, that's the perfect line. No is a complete sentence.
And learn to say it a little more, because I've probably like you. I'm like, yeah, sure, yes, yes, yeah. I'm like, yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Suddenly, I've learned to say no, or not now, or maybe later, but definitely not yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would be the one who people knew, you guys can go home and I'll stay here and I'll finish it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. It'll be done in the morning. Oh, you go home and do what you have to do, and I'll be here and I'll take care of it. Oh, that your pipe is bursting. Don't worry about it. You go to the amusement park. I will make sure that the water is stopped. And now I realize, and I use this analogy, I say, if I have a flame that's in front of me and the person across the street has a fire across the street, I have to put mine out first. I got to put the water on mine first before I take the bucket and run over across the street to help them with theirs.
Yeah, Jim, you got it.
Or I would help there first, and then mine would be it's like, and that doesn't mean they're coming over with a bucket either.
Right.
The one you just brought the water to. It's like, wait a minute, I just gave you water. Don't you have any water? Oh no, we're out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Did you fall in love with Sara?
Oh, absolutely. And Otis. Sara and Otis.
Otis, did you tell them about your new project?
No. So
you got a minute, Jim?
A minute. We've got plenty of time. This is the Jim Masters show. Put a pot of coffee
Sara,
on.
go. You guys, everybody should check this out.
So one of the things, so again, I like to talk about the journey and how you just keep going. And it's never a straight line, right? It's always sort of more of a meandering path. So when I talk about detox, and I'm talking about getting rid of the things that are holding you down, I also am immunocompromised and have been living in isolation quite a lot in my house because I have blood cancer. I had 4 vaccines, but I got no antibodies. My blood did not work. So I was really, throughout most of COVID, very unprotected. Recently, I got some new special vaccine that put antibodies in me. So I'm starting to like poke my head out into the world a little bit now, and it feels really good. So one of the things I did was I worked with 2 really good friends of mine who had a salt therapy spa in New York City. And you would go to this incredible treatment room and you would breathe just dry salt air. No water, just dry salt air.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's like Wayne and I went there together.
Mm-hmm.
And
You lay on these beds, and the salt just blows over you.
Yes. You ever go in one of those salt caves? I went
That's
in one
what
of
it's
those
like.
in Connecticut, Ridgefield, Connecticut. It was fantastic. And we're sitting down, Indian style, and we're just surrounded by all the salt and these healing properties that it has. We actually were on a TV shoot doing it, and it was fantastic.
And you can breathe again, right?
Yes, it's great for the sinuses and for everything. Yes.
Well, that's what Sarah's creating for your home.
Well, they all shut down during COVID, and I couldn't kind of get this therapy that was one of the only things that kind of helped me, because part of my immune issue is it really attacks my respiratory system. So I work with my 2 friends who own that spa, and yesterday on a crowdfunding website called Indiegogo, we launched it's called a halo generator, but it's a little machine. It looks like 3 stones piled up on top of each other that you can put salt in, turn it on, and you can breathe this dry salt air at home.
Wow.
It's so amazing.
There's no congestion. You just feel so good.
That's amazing, huh?
And our lungs are so damaged since COVID, all of us, that it's like, this is like a cleansing. I couldn't believe she did it. It blew me away.
That's incredible. Yes. Well, one of my favorite things is the ocean. You got to drag me out of it. I'm swimming, surfing, boogie boarding it. I grew up near it. We're not far from it here, a couple of blocks. I just need that salt and just that feeling of the ocean. And there's nothing like when you go into the ocean and you get that salt water and as Wayne would know, it's fantastic for your hair.
Hello.
It's
like, wow.
You can work out better too. It's not just about, it eases all the congestion.
Yes.
It up your airways. You can breathe freer. And, if you like to work out, you can work out better. You can breathe better. So
she's not only a published author, and she's not only a top ad exec. She now is an inventor of this amazing machine to help people. So imagine that, a triple threat, an EGOT.
Oh my gosh!
So from finding a lobster drunk underneath a counter, now she's an EGOT, and you keep going and you keep changing, you keep growing, and look what happens.
Wow.
Magic happens, and she's helping people.
See, that's the key, right? That's the key.
Yeah.
Who is Sara now versus that Sara that was in her 20s, where the world was her oyster then?
Yeah. Tell us, Wayne.
Who are you now?
Yeah.
I think I'll say it like Bernard Pivot. No, I'll say who Sara is now. Kind-hearted, open. Part of her is fearless, where you could have been more fearful in the past. Giving, hopeful, creative, and supermom.
You know what? You said something, Wayne, it just resonated me. You said fearful. I was a person who was always afraid of failure, afraid of not looking my best, afraid of not being, honestly, nothing scares me anymore.
Yeah, look at you. I mean, think of this.
I'm reckless. It's just that I know that as long as I'm honest with myself, I'm being true to myself.
Yes.
I'm being a good friend, a good mother, a good sister, daughter. Nothing can.
Yes.
And, that just gave me chills because all of us can start finding the best of ourselves from who we were in the past. And isn't it funny how you're not fearless when you start to find your heart?
No, absolutely. And I'm just finding, and I feel more centered now.
Mhm.
So not afraid to just be who I am and write a book that, kind of tells some pretty embarrassing stories. Like,
Yeah, but you did.
Shoving 2 wine bottles in my mouth at once and tipping my head back in this really smooth move called the walrus.
Oh,
But
that's good, Jim. Maybe you should make her do it someday. The 2 bottles go in, she
The
tips her head
walrus.
back, and she looks like a walrus.
I didn't even hear that in college. The walrus.
yeah,
You got to go to college with Sarah or Brett Kavanaugh. What?
stop.
That is something. So he answered that. How about you, Sarah? Who is the Sarah now, and what would Sarah of now say to the Sarah of yesterday?
This Sarah would say to the Sarah of yesterday, chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relax. All's good.
Yes.
Back it up, like all that kind of stuff. I was so like face forward, before.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
boundaries, like you said, really, really help.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it changed at all your perception of the industry that you've been in? I mean, obviously, like we were saying, in an industry that creates branding and image and makes things look and feel terrific because we want people to have an emotional connection to an idea, to a product, to a company. How has it altered any of that? You're still a skilled professional at it. You could probably take, a paper bag and make people want it, but which I've been able to do too. So I get that, but still, how has it changed your look at it now?
So advertising is completely different than when Wayne and I were out there. We were shooting like ads for like magazines and billboards and
Big budgets and jib cameras,
90,000 a day, $1 million a day.
helicopters, and
boondoggle shoots. I actually write about it in the book when we wanted to do a photo shoot, and somebody said we should do it in Paris, and we convinced the client that we needed to shoot in Paris because it was a city of light. And when we got to Paris to shoot, we were in a studio. We weren't even outside, Like,
right. To make it look like it, right.
Everything was sort of crazy, but now it's all online. It's completely different. It's fully digital.
It could be done with your cell phone now. Yeah.
And I think companies have to be more responsible now than they were back in those earlier days, from the madman days forward. The corporations have a lot of the money, and if they're not putting it to use toward helping people, then they're not spending their money correctly. And people buy based on values. People connect on values. They don't necessarily connect on speeds and fees and function. They want to buy into something, not just buy it.
Yeah, it changed. Right. It really changed.
That's how I've always loved the campaigns, even in television, the promotional campaigns for stations and networks that were warm and inviting and gave you a feel for the station and the people that were on the station, and just you really wanted to watch and support, and you wanted to be around them type thing. And just with products, I mean, remember the Coke commercial? I'd like to teach the world to think. That sold so much Coca-Cola, but at the same time, it had a message of unity, coming together, combining the product with a great message, gold mined, type thing, where nothing was crazy. It was actually warm, and people still reference that today. We're missing a lot of that. There's no more singing jingles. There's no more themes that you can sing to for TV shows. Everything is just like, a TV show starts and it's boing, and that's the open. I'm like, where's the singers? Where's the open? Where's the build up to the whole? Now you can watch networks like some of the older networks where they rerun some of the classic shows, and they give people a little option now to skip the intro.
Yeah.
I skip the intro. I want to sing that theme song to that show. Skip the intro. The intro is just as good.
I used to sing the intro to that TV show Angie with Donna Pascal. It was my favorite song. I couldn't get enough of that.
That was actually a very popular song.
Let your love flow like a rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very popular song,
I
actually. Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah,
Search
I
it
can
on
hear it in my
YouTube.
head now. See, that's the thing. You're
It was
right.
my
Van
favorite.
Dyke. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Uh-huh.
You don't even have to say his name. You just do that and you know. So for you, Sarah, that has changed a lot too. Has it made it more difficult to be able to create the connection and the warmth and the emotion? People almost feel like they don't have time for that. It just tell me what it is, what it costs, and that's all I care about, as opposed to the warm feeling of, you know, Madge with the palm olive and putting your
Yeah.
hands
Yeah.
in the thing.
You're
You know what I mean?
soaking in it. You're soaking in it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what brands or companies are doing now is they're making like little mini films and little movies, and they're telling stories that sometimes have almost nothing to do with their product. It's very peripherally.
Yes, I watch stuff so much on television, and I'll like, do you have any idea what the heck that commercial was about? I mean,
You
it
know what
doesn't have any. I
I'm
have no
falling
idea.
in, I'm falling in love with those Airbnb commercials where they play the old music. You know, they play like the Beatles song in your life,
Yes.
and then you see the family and makes me cry. These and every song is wrong, and it's every song you wouldn't pick, but the commercials always stop me in my tracks and move me.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
So something different's happening.
you don't
Yeah.
get on Instagram, you know.
I used to love production music too, you know,
Yeah.
when production music was created specifically for television and for campaigns and advertising and everything, certain themes and music that whenever you heard it, you knew that's what it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you would have stuff like, I'm a pepper, you're a pepper.
Yeah.
It used to be where we would sing everything. Everything
Yep.
would be, you know, a call letter for a radio station, WNBC. Everything was singing about soda and about cereal and about bread, about
I wonder
cars.
why that changed.
It's all,
Right?
I guess it changed, Sarah, probably because,
That was great.
you know, we've had some who've come through here who've been on the other side of it. They were on the production side. They're like the session musicians. We've had jingle singers come through, and we've talked a lot about that. And they're like, unfortunately, it's the expense of bringing in all the musicians to do that now, and all the jingle singers. It's become so cost prohibitive to do it now. That's why they've pretty much eliminated the jingle singers and, you know, the orchestras and all the musicians doing all of that. Everything is now something that's just very.
I miss it. I just think
Me
it's
too. I know.
joy
Made you
that-
feel good.
the
I
joy
keep saying that.
that we're talking about advertising jingles and getting joy and pleasure out of them.
Don't you think that, you know, that and even some of the music on the radio, some of that really relaxing instrumental stuff. And I think if some of that was wafting through the supermarkets,
Yeah.
people would be a little less uptight. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
remember as a kid hearing that when we went shopping and in the malls and the supermarket and Macy's or whatever, and just you felt good. People were humming to things, and you know, you just felt good because you had it around you. It was subliminal, but it was, and again, that's all advertising, marketing. It's all part of that, but still, you know, it actually. People felt better. They spent more in the store. They shopped more, which was the ultimate result. But at the same time, they weren't pushing and shoving and fighting, and they were happier. And I think we've gone away from things that make you feel good and happy. And we need some of that stuff back. You know what I mean? The stuff that, you know, isn't passe.
So much advertising now is like they just go right in your face, and they, you know, try to sell you the product as like quickly and efficiently as they possibly can, and garner as many likes, and, you know, get a certain amount of comments and engagement. And
well, let's get out there and change the world.
Yeah, the fun. You know, I like TikTok. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm not on it myself, but I like watching it. And what I really like about the people that do TikTok right are the ones that kind of let you into their life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit, you know,
Yeah.
that's sort of, and I think that's kind of what people want. They want to peek behind the curtain, and they want to see how you live your life and what's going on and what's happening behind the scenes.
But Sarah, isn't that your book?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is.
You know, it's the reality of the reality. I call it actuality television. It's like, what is really going on behind this reality stuff?
Right.
So Wayne and Wayne and I did a tarot reading with someone who said to us,
I think he actually has cards there.
so somebody said to me, Wayne, when we were on, do you know that your book is the moon card, is the moon tarot?
Yeah, amazing.
And I had no idea. And it was so interesting to have Wayne. Do you have the moon card there, Wayne?
I have it right here. I'm going to tell you what it means.
Tarot. So somebody said to me, your book cover is crazy. It's the moon tarot. She
used that book cover, that design, and it is actually the moon tarot.
I had no idea.
And the moon card is it means surreal, subconscious, and shadow self. Isn't that weird? That was the other side of who Sara is.
Wow.
Pay close attention to your dreams and listen to your gut instincts. Your weaknesses will also become your greatest strengths.
That's amazing, huh?
How amazing is that? The more we become aware of our unconscious, the more we're able to identify whether we're acting from our irrational thoughts or our conscious minds. Hello? Go beyond the surface and dive deep to resolve your inner issues. Your intuition will guide you. Hello?
Hello.
So how wild is that?
This is one of those moments where it's like, how can you deny it? It's like it just kind of came together so naturally and organically all on itself. If people don't think there's some type of higher power out there that's sort of, something to pay attention to, I truly believe we are
1,000%.
Yeah.
That's amazing, huh?
Isn't that amazing I'm like, wait a minute, that's the lobster coming out of the water. What the heck is this all about, And
whatever happened to that lobster, the one that came from under the slipcover? Whatever came of him?
Under the cabinet.
She still has him. It's Otis's friend. That's Walter, right? Walter?
Yeah.
Don't you see my name on the
that one?
Look at my name. My name is Wayne Scot Lukas, head lobster.
That's what I figured.
Everybody calls Sara Mother Lobster.
Yeah.
Did you eat that lobster that day?
Yeah. What?
I don't think so.
I don't think you ate anything that day.
I think so. I think I just had a cup of coffee.
And the best part of the story is the guy that was, like she said, the guy that was coming for the luncheon that didn't get the luncheon because mother-in-law was very, very drunk with a bruised face is now the most amazing son-in-law, and they're getting married.
Yeah. Yes. We talked about that before you.
Yeah, I heard that. But how great is that?
Yeah. No, thank God he stuck around.
Well, Sara, everybody knew who you truly were. All of us everybody listening, all of us go up and down, and the people that leave when you're down are the people that don't belong in your life.
That's exactly right. That's like the detax part. It's like, stop pulling things into your life that aren't good for you.
Yeah, people too.
You think, maybe that's who I should be with, or I've been friends for that person forever. And it doesn't matter how long you were friends. If they're not good for you, they're not supporting you, they're not lifting you up. You don't have to have a fight. You just don't have to engage.
So the psychic John, I'm sorry, Jim. Do you want to tell you this? The psychic John Edwards. I met John at I was doing QVC. I was on HSN. I was a home shopping network, and John Edwards was on, and he had seen my Facebook, and I was always in everybody's face with these big opinions and my loud mouth and so much ego. And he said, Wayne, I'm going to tell you something. I really like you. There's two Waynes. There's one in private that all of your friends love, and then there's the other one in public, and it can be off-putting. And Sara will say the same thing. And what I learned was, he said, everybody listening to this right now, when you put up a post on Instagram or put up your daily statement on Facebook, your main comment, 5,000 people get touched by what you post. So you really have to start being more gentle with how you post and what you say. He said, Wayne, 5,000 people saw that negative post. And he goes, you owe it to this planet that when you put something up, it is something that's going to support people that are starting their day when they see your page. And I was like, that's a big thing to think about. No, 5,000 people see your aggression, and on Twitter, it's 15, 20,000. So you have to learn to part of our job here is to love each other also, even if we don't know each other.
Absolutely. Listen, if you have a choice to be positive or negative, why not be positive?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the energy that you want to put out.
Except if it's COVID.
Well, yes, you don't want to be positive for that. But what you give is what you're going to get back, you know.
Absolutely. And
Yes,
you know what the truth,
law of
and the truth, like you said,
attraction.
what you guys said before, though, sometimes what you give, you get back shit. But if you give in kindness, it's okay.
We're exactly right. Yeah, yeah, right.
It's
The energy you
A-okay.
put out can come back, and if it doesn't come back the way you want it, maybe it's because of what you're, the aura that you're giving off, the vibe you're
You
giving off.
you keep your side of the street clean, and it's all okay. Nothing doesn't matter what's going on the other street.
I am such a believer in keeping your side of the street clean. That is kind of how I try to govern my life and base the decisions on what I want to do and how I want to interact with somebody. Or it's like, that makes you be honest with yourself, and that makes you
Yeah.
honest with other people too. What am
But
I
your book,
clean if I'm not honest with myself about something?
yeah.
Or
Did you used to also then want to help them keep their side of the street clean too? After you did yours, then you wanted to go over and help them clean their sides. Did you used to do that, Sarah?
I mean,
I
go
would
ahead.
used to do that, but now
Yeah.
I realize their side of the street is theirs and mine
Right.
is mine. And if I
Right.
just
Because
stay, worry about myself, other things then tend to take care of themselves a little more.
Exactly right.
I've been to so many AA meetings with friends and family, and that whole thing of your part, my part, I find so important because if I get in a fight with you, Jim, I'm only responsible for my part. I can
Yes.
apologize for my part. I can fix my part. Your part is your shit. It has nothing to do with me. And that's how the world goes around.
One of the biggest things too that people learn over time is forgiveness, and there's the forgiving of others, but one of the hardest sometimes is to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that, Sarah? Forgiving others, but also maybe forgiving yourself, because you have to do that to be able to get to the point where you are now, which is at a very beautiful spot in your life.
Well, part of writing the book was, I think it's a cathartic process for me to just put
Yes.
everything down, because I don't think you can forgive yourself for things if you're not fully recognizing them and
Good
really,
point.
aware of them.
Yeah.
And so in order to kind of get to that point with yourself, you've got to really be open and honest with yourself. And so that's sort of why I wrote the book. When I read the book, somebody said to me, yes, this is a book about your crazy midlife crisis, but it's also a love story between you and your children. And
Oh, great.
it really comes through. And when somebody said that to me, it was the most warming, beautiful thing that I'd heard about the book, because in the end, it is a love story about me and my children and what we kind of all overcame together to all be a better, more loving family.
How have the children reacted? What has been their reaction to this and to the book itself, and other members of the family, and maybe even some of your contemporaries, your colleagues that saw you in one capacity at work or at the school, and now the book's out there and they see this book and they see a different, more deeper side of Sarah?
Can I say one thing, Sarah?
Yes, please.
I'm not going to say the name of the person, but a very, very, very famous woman that many of you follow, famous across the board, manufacturing, TV, magazine, called Sara and said, "You're very brave." And this is a woman that had been through so much that for her to call Sara brave just blew me out of the water. But go ahead, Sara.
Yeah.
And announcing our fourth mystery guest. No.
Yeah.
How cool would that be? But so the reaction, the family, the friends, the colleagues, the reaction as they see you, opening up in the way that you did with the book.
So my kids were in it. I would never have written this book if I didn't have the permission of my children, because I do tell so many stories about them, especially my younger daughter is throughout the book.
Yeah.
And they got it. They said, "Yeah, we're with you, Mom. You do what you need to do." I don't really mention them by name, but they're really all in there. And I know that I've got some family members who just don't want to read it because they don't want to hear about it. Part of the way you can really support someone in your family is to let them tell you the stories that are uncomfortable for you. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great.
That's
So
very
But
true.
isn't it funny that families don't want to hear your painful stories? Isn't that sad?
they
Where
self
you should feel the safest is the place that it's the hardest sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. And then the fact that it's sort of out in public is, there's a couple people that are like, oh, why did you do that? Why would you diminish yourself like that? And I've never felt diminished by writing
No.
this book. I felt empowered by being able to tell a story. And I've gotten that energy right back, by the way.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
a single person has said to me, except a couple of family members, like, you know, they've said, good for you for telling your truth. I mean, Wayne and I were kind of on this
Yeah.
book journey together because Wayne has an amazing book. And we were both sitting during COVID, like we were writing our books together and trying to find agents and trying to find publishers. And he was reading mine and I was reading his. And it was really such a beautiful kind of coming together of stories. Really, Wayne's story has tragedy and has pathos and it has love and it has humor. It's got so much humor. And just reading Wayne's story was actually so inspirational for me to, keep plowing forward and write mine.
So
That's
he gave
great.
you inspiration through his authenticity, telling his story.
We
for
both
you to be able to write yours.
told the truth.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We both told the truth. No matter who it bothered, we told the truth.
we had each other. If you're the only one who reads the book, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and it was our truth. It didn't matter. I didn't have to throw a celebrity under the bus. I just told my side of the story, and it's the truth. And my agent said, why would you hold lies for 18 years? Just tell the truth. And I thought, you know what? And it kind of cleaned my side of the street.
Yeah.
And Sara was desperately supportive, and her younger daughter was desperately supportive, and they pushed me to do things I wouldn't do. And that's the thing for everybody out there listening. Pay attention to your people, to your friends that feel strong. They may need support. Those are the ones that need it the most. Pay attention to your strong friends too, not just the ones that seem like they're always sad and weak. The strong ones need support too. We spend a lot of time taking care of everybody.
Well, you're a fixer. You're like a fixer personality, right?
Yeah.
Like Jim, I bet you're a fixer type personality.
Oh, yeah.
Jim is,
Jim as well.
Yeah.
And all of us who are like these fixers, everybody assumes like, there's nothing wrong. They'll be fine. And that is just not the case.
Well, Jim hasn't taken out his I Dream of Jeannie bottle yet, and that's when the trouble starts.
Right back there. See it?
See? You see, Sara? You don't know about that.
No, I don't.
And Gilligan's here from Gilligan's Island, and George Burns is here. A lot of the TV stuff. Yeah, TV characters.
Oh my gosh, I can't even take it. Well, I'm glad you guys fell in love tonight.
Oh,
yes, absolutely. Do you see another book in the offing, Sara? Now that you got the first one out, do you see another?
Yeah, so my agent's expecting or publisher's expecting another book from me. It did really well, and so I'm not sure yet what it's going to be, but yes, there'll be something at some point.
That's fantastic, huh? That's exciting.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's great to have a good friend like Wayne right there in your corner too. You know what I mean? Supporting and rooting you on, and that's what we all need. People who really care.
He doesn't root me on, but I can count on him for telling it like it is.
I love you for that. But I was going to say, I'm lucky to have Sara.
It looks like she wants to say more.
Say it.
No, I'm just saying Wayne is very honest, and he's the type of friend you need because he'll
straight shooter. Yeah. Like he'll tell you if you're going in the wrong direction.
I do it sometimes, but I pull back a little bit too, right?
Oh, listen, your heart is in the right place all the time, even when you tell me like, what are you wearing or something.
I want
She's
all
so
of us.
diplomatic, isn't she?
Yeah, no, she's great.
That's why she won the awards writing copy.
No, Sara, she's everything. She's actually saved me this last year a couple times. She's amazing. God put us together, and that's the blessing. Just like God brought Jim into our life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that good attracts good. You know what I mean? It really, really
I hope
does.
so. And if we have boundaries and we've learned how to be healthy, then we attract each other.
That's right.
Right.
And we don't do the wounded birds where we're trying to save people all the time. We save ourselves, and then we can love each other.
That's right.
You know?
in saving ourselves, we will be able to help other people. We
Absolutely.
can't help ourselves by helping someone else first. Which,
Absolutely. And like
Yeah.
I read these ladies writing over here, and you know what? Every lady writing comments would be a friend of ours. And we could talk to about the same things if they were on the camera too. They love the 3-person conversation. Everybody here has the similar struggle in some way,
Yeah.
and it keeps the world connected. And I had the suicide in 2010, and I've had terrible bankruptcy and success. And it looks great on the outside, but the struggle on the inside is the same as the mom whose kid flunked out of school and the husband left. And the struggles are different, but they're all the same. And showing up, keeping your side of the street clean, having some higher power to find your way back. Don't give up. Crawl back. You and the lobster are in a race.
yeah.
Crawl past that lobster and win the race. Every single person out there, that's the process of success, is deciding to stay alive in this planet that's not easy. How does that sound? That's true
It's so
success.
true, right? Exactly. It's not,
That's success. I wanted to give up. I don't know about Sarah, but I've wanted to give up.
You did,
and I didn't. And it looks great, but it wasn't always easy. And it was actually really bad at times. So I stayed. Stay. What do you got to lose?
Right.
Step
Exactly.
to life. Hello.
Right. Hello. It's true, Sarah, right? I mean, there were probably times where you said, even though I have all these wonderful things in my life, still inside, Sarah's wasn't a happy person. And like you said right in the beginning, how you were immersed in this world of creating all of this glory and beauty and these images and branding. It's interesting because I've had a little of that struggle too, a little bit, working in this industry, where that was one of the things that actually drew me in, was the fact that we had the opportunity to create things that made it seem sweeter and softer and kinder and more colorful and vibrant and kindred. You know what I mean? And then you realize that's on set. But when you walk behind the set, there's garbage cans and wires and wrappers and people that are angry with each other. And it's not like what's on set.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like you have rose-colored glasses on for so much of the day that at a certain point you just don't take them off.
Right. It's like you love it. You're kind of like, gee, why isn't the world operating that way? How much sweeter it would be if it did.
But you know what, though? The success is when you're falling apart.
Yeah.
When Sarah has blood, it makes me cry. Sarah has blood cancer. I have someone else in my life that's sick. I was just sick. When you're falling apart and you slowly put the pieces back together and the dominoes don't fall and you come out the other side, life is so sweet. Life is so sweet. And I'm telling you, they say you don't get the sweet without the, sour. It's like, there's got to be a balance. And look at the unique balance God gave us. That behind the scenes, it's garbage cans, but on the set, you can create this thing. And the balance is just pure magic.
Yes.
You're not going to know success until you've seen utter failure. I mean, I hate to say it, but life gets glorious and then it sucks. And then it's glorious and then it sucks. It keeps happening like a roller coaster. How do you show up out there that when you watch this show? How are you going to show up this week when it sucks, when you can't pay a bill, when you can't buy groceries for your kid? How are you going to show up? Is it going to be with faith? Are you not going to remember you did this before? Right. And then maybe you change some behavior so you never do it again if you can do that. That's what I had to do. I had to change behaviors.
And same with me, I have decided that I'm going to make my body the worst host for cancer that ever existed. I just do nothing as much as I can to manage stress, manage my peace of mind, eat really healthy, hang out with people like Wayne, positive and uplifting. And
for that.
My body is not a good host.
I love that.
Disease.
I love it.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, that's the way to be. It's all
And
positive thinking. It's the mindset,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. And we talk a lot about empathy and kindness too. And I keep saying I was hoping and still hope that everything we've gone through the last couple of years, we would come out of it more kinder and empathetic and collaborative. And I'm not necessarily seeing a lot of that. I'm
People are
seeing the
people are
opposite.
scared. It's almost like
Everybody, which
COVID. I feel like it's COVID derangement syndrome.
what's interesting? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm on an island, or maybe there's just a few of us on this island. Like when things started opening up again, I've said this a couple of times to friends and family and colleagues, and I think I mentioned it on this show too. Like during it all, I wasn't grabbing and pushing and shoving and that's mine and you should do that or you shouldn't do that. I wasn't doing any of that. I didn't get in my car the minute everything opened and start road rage and cutting people off and speeding and tailgating and get out of my way. I lost 2 years. The whole world stopped for 2 years. So I need to make up the 2 years, move out of my way. I was the opposite of that. So I'm still trying to sort of reconcile why you've really seen a lot of people's true colors.
I don't like
Every
them.
man for themselves, survival of the fittest, that, get out of my way. It's
Yeah.
like it's like the episode of The Twilight Zone when they thought there were Martians in that neighbor's house or in that neighbor's house on Elm Street. And then they start all attacking each other, burning down their houses, and everything else. And it turned out that this kid, I think, was the Martian or something, that neighbor wasn't, or this neighbor wasn't, or that it was a false alarm or something like that. But they had destroyed their entire block, accusing one another and destroying one another. And I'm like, I don't understand. These are the times when it's supposed to be, if your boat is sinking, grab a bucket and let's no matter what the boat is, just in life, the lifeboat. And that's how I operate. I've always roll up the sleeves and let's make this better, because if you take this and you make it bad, well, tomorrow's going to add more and then more and more. And then the whole thing implodes. I'm a Libra, so I'm balance and harmony. And we've had an interesting time trying to make things balanced for everybody and make things harmonious. And it's been really a challenge. So every time I turn the TV on or I just go into a store, I get on the highway, and just to see the way people are. And I'm like, really, really, after what we've all been through and going through collectively, as well as individually, you're thinking about it the other way. You're thinking about it where it's only about you and survival of the fittest. And I'm going to, push and shove, fighting in stores over the last roll of toilet paper. And what? Come on.
But it's desperation. But you want to know something? For an hour and 20 minutes tonight, 3 people came together to tell you about love. So that can tell you one thing. If 3 of us can come together and talk about love and talk about bouncing back and talking about moving forward after distress ourselves, that means that 3 people want to change the planet. And then the 15 or 20 people in the chat room that are here that we love want to change the planet. And guess what? Find those people.
Oh, fine. Start with yourself, find your tribe, and it just grows exponentially from that point.
That's all we got. That's all we got. And someone can cut me off, but I can still come back and talk to Jim and talk to Sara and know that I have 2 people that want a better world. And I can still go home with my dog and sit with my dog and say, I know how to soothe myself. Like, guys, there's ways to self-soothe. There's ways to find your way out of this mess. And that's what we also learned in the pandemic, how to self-soothe for 2 years.
And each of us collectively are linked because we have been in these industries that, again, create the branding, the image, the good feelings. I mean, we're all individually very talented, skilled, educated professionals who've done these jobs in these industries for a long time. And here we are talking about, the ways to sort of relish in what we've done and what it's all about and celebrate it, but also realize that life has all these other components to it. And Wayne's been through it, and Sara, and very open about it. And Sara, you have. I talk on this show about different things like driving alone through Death Valley and having a liberating experience, all these different things. Yet we are in these industries where it's lifting other people up and entertaining them and inspiring them and trying to connect emotionally with them through what we do, through our talent and art. Really fascinating to have three people together who have similar sort of ways of thinking from that creative bent, how to take a rock and turn it into a diamond in the way that we do, which shocks and surprises everybody, but then realize sometimes that before it was a diamond, it was a rock.
And then when we talk about it, the three of us really are the man behind the curtain. With our own tragedies and our own successes, we are that behind the scenes thing, that behind the pretty, there's always a little bit of crooked and off and struggle and, and then there's success. And it's also the lovely thing that you can make things pretty even if you're in distress. I've been on many jobs. I remember 4 a.m. on a Janet Jackson set. We skipped the union rules and we worked 3 days straight. It was 3 24-hour days. And I stood on the set and it was 4 a.m. and I started to cry. Nobody saw me. I was behind scenes and the tears were pouring down my face. I couldn't go on. And I picked up my face and I looked, and Janet walked on the set. She looked like a ball of lightning and she started to dance like she'd never danced before. And I'm like, if she can keep going, I can keep going. And it ended up winning 900 awards, but no one knows that it was a nightmare behind the scenes, the struggles of all of it,
Oh, we say that all the time, like when we're on set or on a shoot or something and something's going wrong or somebody has to find a piece of tape because the thing fell apart. We're on live in 5 minutes and you got to tape it up, or somebody's on the other side just holding the light because the light fell down, or all these things. I'm constantly saying, if people only knew what we had to go through, even just to make the simplest things look so effortless and so easy.
Everybody comes together backstage.
Yes.
That's the magic too.
That's the magic. I think too, like you say about everybody has their own life stories and experiences. It's the art of being human. Every single person on this planet, no matter what they do, who they are, and I say it on the show, everybody here is welcome regardless of political views, no political views, religious views, no religious views, gender, height, weight, income, zip code, none of it matters. We all breathe, we all bleed, we all get hungry, we all cry, we all laugh. And that's what life's all about. And if you're, in a world where you get a chance to play and create and take the crayons and create these beautiful things that we do, we're blessed. We know that. But at the same time, we bleed too, and we have worries and fears. And even though we're creating worlds that sort of take that away for other people, we also need oxygen as well, like the oxygen with the plane. Took me a while to learn that you don't have to put it on you.
You don't succeed alone and you don't fail alone.
It takes the village, right?
It's a group effort.
Yes.
Both things are a group effort.
Well,
Think about it.
Yes, right. I've always been that way. I've always been team, right? I've been accused, even in my industry, people will say, Jim, who are the we? You constantly are always saying we. And that thing that just happened, that was you. So you should be saying you created that, you built it, the award is yours or whatever. That's really I said, I know, but I don't know, maybe I was raised we, or I just think team and we and us. And even if I get this award or whatever, I see it as us still.
It's all shared.
We had nothing to do with it. We weren't even in the room. We weren't even in the building or in the zip code. That's yours. Take it. And like, yeah, but I want to share it.
Well, next award, you owe me and Sarah. Next award, mention us.
There's such a generosity.
Right in Ethel.
I'm Ethel.
There's such a generosity of spirit, though, Jim, in that attitude, because in a way, like, no person is an island, and the I is never stands alone. Anyway, I sort of honor that sort of more collective thought of we. Now, recognize that you know what you've achieved, and be honest with yourself. Be honest with why you're being that generous with it. And as long as you recognize that it was you, because the problem came when, and I had this problem where I took credit for nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. Right.
Whatsoever. And I think Wayne's probably been there.
Always. Because sometimes when you take credit for things, then you have to be responsible for them. It's a game. It's a self-esteem, self-respect game that you have to learn to play. Diane Sawyer's cleaning lady was really evil. And I was doing something up at her house, and apparently my assistant's shoes scuffed the kitchen floor. They had offered us food. We hadn't eaten in like 14 hours. We were starving. And so Diane said, please make Wayne and his assistants food. So they gave us food. We went in, we came out, and as we're eating, she came in and she screamed at us and she said, your boots scuffed the kitchen floor. And I looked at I was in socks, and my little assistant, who's like 5'1", that had worked so hard that day, had tears coming down her face and was shaking. And she said, it's your boots, the girl screamed at her. She goes, get in there and clean Diane's kitchen floor. So you know what I did? Me and my 2 assistants went in on our knees with paper towels and we scrubbed the floor. Nowadays, I would do it, but I would say, I'm sorry we got the floor dirty. This really isn't our job, and I'm happy to take care of this. But back then, I learned that trip when I told my therapist, I said I had no self-respect and no self-esteem.
Yeah.
I just let myself be bullied by this cleaning lady. But what I liked about me and my other assistant was we didn't make her do it alone. We said, dry your tears. We got this. Went in and cleaned the floors. And that's when I learned self-respect and self-esteem. Now I would approach it differently. But you know what? We've all been there in all situations.
Right. I think under
and
those
Diane Sawyer
conditions,
fired her, so whatever.
I think under those conditions, I would have probably done the same thing in the way that you did it and all.
Just did it.
But
you have
I think I've gone a little bit further where if that housekeeper came charging through the door and these other people
I
were
would have
around,
stopped her
and she
now right
pinned
away.
me out. She pinned me out in front of other people in that way,
Yeah.
with disrespect, knowing that we didn't do it and we're actually here for 14 hours. We haven't eaten. We've helped. We've done everything we can. I probably at this point would have said, "Who the hell do you think you're talking to?"
I don't do that.
probably would have said that now.
Yeah.
That would have been the thing that now I would never have ever said that ever. But now I think,
Yeah.
excuse me, wait a minute. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Freeze. Everybody freeze. Do you want to repeat what you just said? And would you like to reword that? Because we'll give you 100 different reasons why we're still standing here after 14 hours.
But that again
that
again is when you choose to work with healed people and not healed people. Your approach to those kind of situations will change.
Right.
Or people that are trying to heal.
Well, I think there would have been a certain point in my life, if I was in that situation, I would have apologized. I would have said, I'm sorry. Even though nothing to do with it, right? And I've become much more realistic now about not subrogating myself and my role in any situation and being more realistic. Maybe I would.
What would you have said to her, Sarah? What would you have done?
I would have said, I'm really sorry that happened. Let me help fix it with you.
Yeah.
So more in this together.
Right.
Where I probably at one point felt I had so low self-esteem. And I would have just apologized for anything in the world.
That's what we did. We just got on the floor and cleaned. I was like, what? Looking back, I'm like,
yes.
Because I will clean anybody's floor watching the show or on the show. I will clean Sarah's laundry. I will do anything people ask me to do. But if someone comes in and is that aggressive, you got to know that there's something not right there. And now I can say to myself, like you said, I wouldn't say, Sarah knows I can be really shady, but I worked really hard on myself. I would probably, her name was Digna. I would say, Digna, I would say, I'm sorry, that's not what we're here for today.
What if she broke like a fancy piece of Diane's china, but she blamed it on you?
That's happened. We had diamonds missing on a Whitney Houston shoot. And there was a lady, I'm not going to say the name because it's really offensive, but there was a lady named Diane. She was Whitney's wardrobe person. And the lights went out on Pier 59 studio because we had a rainstorm one day during a very big shoot. Whitney was using drugs. Whitney was off her rocker, but she looked beautiful. But it was a terrible shoot. The lights went down. When the lights came back up, 7 diamond earrings were missing from the table. It was like a Batman, you know, when the Catwoman comes in, the lights go down and the lights go back up and someone's murdered. And Diane said, and I'm going to say this one racist thing, Diane said, it's that white guy. And I mean, talk about reverse racism. I go, you think I stole diamonds that I brought to the set? And this went on for 45 minutes, and they found the diamonds in Diane's coat pocket. So what did I do? I still had no self-esteem and self-respect, so I had to stand there and take it and be nervous and scared. And oh my God, that's the perfect key for anybody out there listening. If someone blames you and you know you didn't do it, but you get nervous and scared, you have grown up in abuse. You are not, you don't have your self-respect and self-esteem intact. But when they found it in their pocket, they all blew it up, but they were willing to let someone else take the blame. So the process is, now you send out a prayer, you surround them with some white light, and you hope that they have a better life. Because I don't have time to fix anybody else. I'm still trying to fix myself. And I don't think I even know how.
You're doing a good job, Wayne. You work
Thank you.
hard on yourself. I have respect anybody and everybody that really just continually works on themselves too.
I'm trying.
What you have to do, right? Yeah. Every
You have
day
to do the work.
presents some crazy, the last 3 years, all the craziness we've experienced. Couldn't script any of this. Everything's upside down and backwards. Yeah.
You show up, you shut up, and you do the work.
Right.
Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else, and don't expect anybody else to give you the glory. You're not trying to please your mommy and daddy when you're at work. You're trying to, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You've got to start making yourself a priority and starting to see that you're working hard to improve your life for you. We have one short life, and we're missing moments.
And Sarah, that's something you've had to learn over time, and the book really reflects that energy, right?
100%. I went from really sort of working for companies and working for brands and working for other people and giving them all my ideas and my thoughts and my feelings, and then stepping way back and really kind of just separating myself from any kind of credit I think I probably earned. Not, I don't want to say deserved. I want to say earned, because I worked hard for it. But I didn't take it. I don't know why. I didn't feel worthy of taking credit for stuff that I know.
Well, when you look at your childhood, was there any of that goes back to childhood? Was there anything within the home that made you feel not worthy, or you couldn't speak up, or you couldn't take credit, or was there any of that if you look back?
Not at all. I mean, I had a really, peaceful, loving childhood. I was raised by a single mom. I've never met my father. I have no idea who he is, but I
know who he is.
Text me. I lived
text me.
Sarah,
there's gonna be some text.
Sara Arnell, I am your father.
Exactly. I now I've lost my train of thought.
He threw you off, didn't he?
Vader, it's like, I am your father, Sarah.
Yeah. He threw you off when he moved in close. There he is. Doesn't he look like you? I think I see similar bone structure. There you go. Now you're duplicates. That's right.
No, so I don't think it was my childhood. I think it was just growing up in a really tough sort of male-dominated industry, being, unprepared for it, not doing it.
A different time. It was a different time also then. Women were just getting power.
Did you think of bailing out of it too? Did you think of
never? See, that's not who I am. I will just fight and push through, but I really did it at my own expense.
Good point. Yeah. I said that I was too sensitive to be in the fashion business and in the celebrity business. I never should have done this, and I still say that today.
You still say it. Yeah.
Never should have been. I was a painter and a sculptor. I went to Pratt Institute for graphic design and a sculpting minor. I just wanted to be creative and knit and play with dolls and do their hair and make clothes. And I ended up getting in this industry that is just a burnout, painful business. And I sucked it dry, which I like. I took this business and I wrung it out. And now now that I'm doing it again, it's not as easy, but I've already had 4 clothing lines and I've already done everything. Do I really have to do it all over again for some ego stroke? No. I'm trying to be happy.
Find the passion. That's what's really got to motivate.
Yeah.
I think I'm on my 4th career in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
like gone through so many
Right.
different phases. And now when you kind of are moving forward to sort of, you have to do it from the heart. It has to be passion. And
Only way.
yeah.
True.
And
If you weren't doing this, Sarah, what would be that other career? If you weren't in this industry at
She would be a
all?
wet nurse.
I will continue to teach. There's nothing I like more than, teaching my college students that take
She's
my
great.
classes. It's
Yeah.
and Wayne has actually come to my class. He's been a
They're
guest
great.
lecturer. He's helped critique final projects. I mean, it's fantastic for me to be able to try to sit with the students and share what I know and let them share back with me what they know. It's incredible.
Mhm.
Exactly right.
And her kids are, I was in the class, her kids are thankful and grateful. It's really nice to see that these kids are grateful and thankful, and they learn.
They
What
listen.
else would you be doing, Wayne, if you didn't go into this line of work you've been in all these years? My dream, and I don't even know if Sarah knows this, I would own like a nursery, like where you and sell plants. Oh,
I would
yeah.
have like a nursery at the beach or in Montauk or the Hamptons. I would live in Montana or Maui. I would have a lot of horses and a lot of big dogs, and I'd be very happy being on a farm, like a working farm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like life is forcing me to keep trying to do this to make money, but it's not my dream anymore. I don't mind saying it. I think sharing my story one last time in the book, if I put that out or when I put that out, is going to be fun for me, but I think that's going to be closure.
But there's so much more in your book than that story,
Yeah.
The story. I've read so much of Wayne's book. I'm begging Wayne to just put the book out. The stories of life on the front lines of fashion in New York City with all the celebrities and the craziness and the humor that you have toward all the insanity. The book is a movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
someone
great.
just said that. I think that, all I do when I'm home is I plant and I build and I do things. And if I had my horses, I used to ride 3 horses a day every day for 9 years. And then I raised giant Tibetan Mastiff dogs. So that makes me happier. It makes me happier. And you know what? A couple of friendships, a couple of good people. I do readings, tarot readings once in a while, God-based. I do these little psychic readings, and I like to work with people and talk to people about healing their lives. Not that I have the answers, but if I do it with God's help and I do it psychically, it comes from somewhere else, if that makes any sense.
No, it's true. Yeah. You're like the conduit, the facilitator of the
Yeah, and
energy.
this is 27 years of therapy. So I've worked really hard. So maybe I've learned some things, over the years.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely agree. I understand the nature and the gardening. I'm a green thumb, so I could see being surrounded by
Love it.
things you can, that are nurturing and that you can help grow. And yeah, that's a big thing for me. The ocean too, as well. And,
Yeah, I lived at the beach for 30 years. I want people to come to my nursery and talk about plants and show them what to plant. I mean, I do that in private. It's like, it'd be so great to be hanging out with the public and showing them things and showing them pretty things and making things pretty.
I studied architecture too before I went into this industry as well. And I also love psychology because I'm always trying to figure things out and figure people out. What motivates them to say that, to do that, to react that way or not react at all. I think I'm always finding that fascinating. Just when I turn on the news and you see these things that go on, I'm like, so what caused that person to do that or say that or react that way? I'm always trying to figure that out. So psychology is very fascinating to me as well. And all of this is psychology: branding, marketing, fashion, television, radio, life is marketing and psychology and theater and art. All of it is. And I think when we realize that, that we're all connected, we need one another, and that the earth spins more smoothly on its axis when we're together.
Hello.
And we have our own little stories to tell, but then you find little nuggets that connect. Oh, you too? Oh, wow. You also? Oh, that you think, oh, that happened to me. That's terrific when that comes together like that, right? But first, people have to be willing to come together, come to the table. Don't do all the talking. do some listening.
Listening.
People want to be heard, allow that space. And that's what I love to do as well. People say that to me all the time. Like, wow, you're not just asking questions. You're like in on the ride with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I like to do it, because I'm learning along the way. You know what I mean? And I think when you approach life every day like it's a learning experience, that you're not always right, that people have other ideas, and that your ideas should be heard and appreciated as well. All of that in an even, balanced way is a beautiful way to be. And, hopefully we're going more in that direction. And like Pam says, it's better to love what you do. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just watching.
Really is.
That was great. I'm just watching Sarah's eyes because it's way past her bedtime.
I'm reading the comments. I'm finding. I just want to thank everyone. It's incredible.
Tell people the truth. Sarah's usually in bed by 9 o'clock asleep.
Well, you remember what he said a half hour ago, Sarah. He said he's your father. So he's looking at you from the fatherly. Sarah, you're past your bedtime, Sarah. Brush your teeth, Sarah.
I definitely am.
Don't bring the lobster into your bed, Sarah.
Well, the saddest part of this is she gets to sleep with Otis. None of us do. You
guys are truly amazing. Sarah, this was an extraordinary conversation. And that's what we do on the show. People say, oh, interview, huh? And I'm like, no. It's really, there's a million of those out there. And I like conversations without the scripts, without the questions. We just let it roll. I think it's more real, authentic, warmer. The viewers interacting around the world with their comments and everything. And I just think we all, including the viewers watching live, you, Wayne, myself, and those who will watch this later in the archives, I think everybody benefits from these kinds of scenarios. And I love to facilitate this kind of stuff. So this was wonderful. Congratulations on the book. Congratulations on, just
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And by the way, I have to say, Jim, this is I have been the most unprepared for any kind of sort of chat, because I'm usually like type A with my notes around me. And this has been so refreshing to just be with like-minded people, having a really great conversation. It's really energizing.
I loved it.
It's fun. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. As I always say, I hope it met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
Absolutely. Should I say goodbye to Otis?
Yes.
Good night, Otis.
And we've got George Burns here saying goodnight to everybody. Said you guys knocked it out of the park. He learned a lot and loved it.
All I have.
You got the tarot cards.
No, all I have Tina Turner's bustier. Say goodnight to Tina Turner's bustier.
Look at the way Otis is looking straight at it too. Look at Otis's expression. Otis is saying, "Am I seeing a bustier and a George Burns doll on the screen, or am I going crazy?"
And this sign that says, "Trust your intuition."
There you go.
Yes.
Trust your intuition. And I'm going to pull a card for you all before we go to bed.
Pull a card.
2 of Wands. And the 2 of Wands for everybody means, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is your final card, kids, so get ready, and then Sarah can go to bed. The 2 of Wands means, everybody out there, advance, explore, prospects. A new world is calling all your names, and you are confidently stepping forward, ready to see what's next. There is an enticing path laid out before you, and you have conceptualized a plan to take action and progress towards your bigger ambitions. However, you're faced with leaving your comfort zone, everyone, to venture off to unfamiliar territory. The big picture is clear, and you know what you are capable of. Bold and fearless, you will all succeed as you step into your own personal power. You will enable others to do the same. So when you step into your own personal power, you enable others to do the same. Making the decision to leave the comfort of home isn't always easy, but can be necessary for personal growth. Take the risk and have a backup plan. You'll learn so much about yourself and discover the world in so many ways. As J.R.R. Tolkien and George Burns wrote, not all those who wander are lost.
Bravo, Wayne.
Wait a minute.
Good night, everyone.
That had the George Burns in it? Oh, my God.
I got the George Burns. Good night, Gracie.
Good night. Good night. Good night. This was fantastic. I tell you, Lots of levity on this episode of the Jim Masters Show, huh?
Yes. Good night, ladies.
We will get together, hopefully, and break bread. And Wayne, thanks for joining us. Always great when you're here. And
Wayne.
Sarah, sending you positive vibes and lots of joy and blessing in your life. And
I enjoyed it. I love Jim.
So fun.
And thank you, Otis. You're amazing. And George, thank you for showing up as well. And we'll see you guys again soon, okay?
Bye.
Love, love, love.
Big love, lovity wave.
Good night, kids.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care and best of luck, Sarah. Really a pleasure meeting you. And
This has been incredible. What a great, I want to thank the audience and all the columns.
all
Thank
the lovities. Yeah.
the love and the levity. I really appreciate it.
Well, spread the word for us about our series. We would really, really love that, as we're growing and expanding here. And let's definitely stay in touch. This was really a beautiful conversation.
Absolutely.
And the book, where can they find it? Amazon, everywhere else?
Amazon, anywhere that, as they say, anywhere books are sold. Any bookstore can order it for you if you want. It's on Kindle as well.
Great.
And there's also an audio book that I narrated. So
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah.
I'll be reading to you.
Audiobooks are great. I love audiobooks.
I do too.
Well, congratulations on everything. And again, blessings and joy to you and yours. And we will see you again. Look at Otis. Otis is a cutie. Otis is like, I'm loving this. Is that me on there?
It's his bedtime too.
It's his bedtime too. Well, you be well. And thanks for gracing us with your presence, Sarah. And we'll chat again soon. Okay.
Have a lovely night, everyone.
You too. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. The incredible Sara Arnell joining us here, professor, of course, at Parsons at the New School of Design in New York City, and global marketing and branding expert extraordinaire, and also author of that riveting, eye-opening, compassionate, and very revealing and honest book, There Will Be Lobster. And now you know a bit about the lobster, the rogue lobster, the 18-pound Tumor, the dying rock star, the guru, the meditation guru, and the former monk, and how all of those things and people and entities gave her hope. Really incredible, huh? Really, really revealing and open. And what a great conversation, too. We always have conversations on the show. We bring all of you in. You're all welcome to converse with us through the chat room. Don't forget to leave a comment for us on the YouTube channel if you enjoyed this episode. This was cool. This was a lot of fun. We appreciate Sarah joining us here from New York, professor and author of There Will Be Lobster. Again, not necessarily just about midlife, she said. It's really for everybody and anybody who needs some inspiration and needs a lift in their life. So check that out. She was terrific. And you see the book on the screen there. Tomorrow, we've got another amazing guest. We have internationally acclaimed illustrator and animator, Glenn Hansen, with us. Just take a look at your screen and take a look at some of the amazing illustrations that he has been known for. He is world renowned. We're gonna have an amazing time. He's all excited. He's with us tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be amazing. Last night, were you here when Ed Rossetti was here with us? Composer, drummer extraordinaire. He played live for us. He also gave us a tour of his entire studio and played all these different instruments. It was fantastic. And he either performed on or composed so much television music, film music, and lots more. He was with us last night. And again, as we say, every show is something unique. Every show is something different. And we always learn along the way. Thanks for all the great comments, everybody. You guys are terrific. And remember, be good to yourself, too. If you have to create those boundaries, create them. But don't shut everybody out, of course. But, celebrate you and celebrate life. Life is short. As we talked about when I first started the show, life is short. And it's crazy sometimes. There's ups and downs. Wayne was very open about his life on this episode. And he was when he was with us last time. Renowned celebrity fashion designer who's worked with everybody from Janet Jackson to Mary Tyler Moore. He's worked with them all. Whitney Houston, you name it. And Sara Arnell, an extraordinary global branding marketing expert, professor at Parsons New School of Design, author, and terrific. Again, thanks for sharing a bit about your world too in our chat. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. We would love that. Great show. Thank you, Jim. Love to Otis. Yes. Linda says, great show. Really enjoyed this. Perfect. Love that as well. Thanks, Jim, for an interesting show. You are very, very welcome. Jane watching in Sweden and everybody watching all around the world. This is Jim Master. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time. We'll see you on the next one. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, slancha, shalom. We say hasta la vista. We say Wiedersehen, sayonara, moi loop, and all the rest. But we don't say goodbye because we'll be here on the next one. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would love it. Just click that red subscribe button. That would be really cool. Spread the word about our show. Make sure when you click the subscribe button that you click the notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes. And when you do that, there's a little thumbs up icon there. Boy, would we love it if you give this episode a thumbs up, and all the ones that you enjoy. Like, subscribe, and comment, and share this episode. You know, there's a share button on all the episodes, underneath the episodes on the YouTube channel. There's a share button. Click that button. You can share it on your social media. Share it with others you think would enjoy these episodes of our series. We would love that. And thanks to those of you who've been doing that as well. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for being with us on the Jim Master Show Live. Take care, be well, and thanks for being with us on this episode. Cheers.